Okay, we did it again. I mean, I did it again, but I started my Facebook Live on my personal page, which I'm sure my family and friends were like, why is she online talking about sex? So, hi, I'm Lucy Monroe, for anyone who doesn't know, and I am here today with Veronica Hanson, our sexpert, and I'm very excited to talk to her and hear what she has to say. As you all know, I am a research geek, so it's as important to me to get the intimate side of my writing right as it is any other aspect of my writing. So I just brought quite a few, of the books that I read and use for reference when writing intimacy. This is a Doctor's Guide to the Complete Vulvovaginal Health book, and this is by Elizabeth Stewart, MD, and it is a fantastic book for any woman who has questions or whatever you don't want to ask your friends or your mom or what. This is a great book. It's got some really good information. And then most of you know I wrote a book that dealt with the issue of vaginismus, and this is one of the books that I read for research for that book, and it is the complete, it's 10 steps to completely overcome vaginismus. And it's just a fantastic book, and it's put out by a society that is, you can find it on vaginismus.com, put out by a society that's really focused on helping women overcome this issue. Another book I love is called He Comes Next. It's
Ian Kerner, amazing.
Right? I mean, he's so good. And this is the companion book to She Comes First. Now, I lent that book, let's see, to a sister or a niece. Anyway, I don't have it on my shelf. I didn't get it back. Happens too often in this library, right? And he was actually kind of frustrated. I was mentioning that he did not like having to write that book, but women want to know just as much as men do how to please their partner. And it may seem like a no-brainer, but it's not for some of us. So if you don't read steamy romance, maybe you need a great manual, right? But those of us who read steamy romance have some really good insights other people do not get. This one is called Intended for Pleasure by Ed Wheat, MD, and Gail Wheat, his wife. And it's kind of a little bit softer an approach. If you're a little bit less comfortable just diving right into a book that talks about intimacy and sex, you might want to start with something like this, a little bit clinical, but I think he just handles things just in a very gentle way. Another very good clinical book that I like is the Resurrecting Sex book by David Schnarch, PhD. And I loved this book. And you're probably going to see a lot of the principles that I read about in this book in most of my writing. I read this really early on, and then I reread it every couple of years. So then, of course, because sex and romance to me come together, I don't like to write intimacy without the actual love romance thing going on. I've got romance on a shoestring, and because the reality is, what's the biggest organ that we use for sex? Our brain. Our brain. That's right.
I think she didn't even prep me on that question.
We know the answer to that one. This book I love. It's called Forbidden Knowledge, Sex, and it's 101 sensual acts not everyone should know how to do.
Dirty.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of like, but I like it because it just like gives you some, and okay, yeah, maybe, I try some of these things out. Who knows? I'm not going to talk about that. But I am going to say that I think it's important that we all are willing to explore and figure out what works for us. And that you'll see that as a theme in my books. You'll see that my characters are willing to try new things, try things they haven't tried before, because they are looking not just for happiness, but for a sense of self, a sense of this is really what makes my life full. And sex is part of that for a lot of us. So let's not downgrade it or pretend like it is just dirty. It's not. It's everything that is fun and wonderful. The next book, I love this. This is The Sensual Teachings of the White Tigress by C. Lai, and there's an H in front of that S. This book, I have mentioned that you're going to find a lot of the influence from this book in books 3, 4, and 5 of the Goddard Project series, because I read it before that, and I love some of the stuff in here. And I thought, hey, my characters can do that, and they can have fun with that, and just explore new things. So that all said, to show what a research geek I am, so this like chat about sex is perfectly like in my wheelhouse, I am going to turn it over to Veronica and let her just kind of bring up some stuff.
So just based on what you just said about that book is gonna come up in books 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Have you already written book 2?
All 5 books are done.
And they were done.
Right. They were published before, and we are re-releasing the series. So I'm really excited about
this. So all I've read is book 1. Right. So I brought a bunch of products the Pure Romance sells. I've been selling this Pure Romance product line for almost 12 years. It'll be 12 years next month. And we have just so many fabulous products. It's not all risque items. So for women who are a little bit more timid about exploring with this product line, we don't just sell hardware. We sell all sorts of G-rated items to just make women feel good and confident. That's kind of what your books do, is they really give women confidence. And
I hope so.
Yeah, they make people realize that they're not the only ones thinking or feeling these things.
And can I just insert really quick that I've been to a couple of Pure Romance parties, and the reason why Veronica's here is because I learned stuff. And if I learn stuff for my writing with all of the reading I've done, I feel like I just want to share that with the rest of you. This is so cool. We're not trying to sell a product here. We are talking about products that can help women, and you can find these products other places. But I will say the best ones are found here. Just gonna say,
I'm a little biased, so I agree. But they are certainly found other places. We just part of our company mission is we go into women's houses, which is similar to when you're reading your books. You know, you get that private time.
Yes.
Instead of going to a shop, which we actually would love you to comment to let us know if you've ever been to a Pure Romance party or a shop. Yeah. So drop like a heart emoji if you've ever been to a sex shop, a porn shop, a Pure Romance party, if you've ever been in
or
any
you want
sort of
to
way.
go.
Or you want to go,
right?
Yes.
If this is something that's kind of on your list of things you want to do, you know what? Hubby is going to jump in with some questions.
Actually, I was just going to notify that Isabel and Carolyn and Kim and Lauren have joined.
Well, hi guys. Thanks for coming.
Hi. So if you have been to any of those kinds of places where you can buy these products, definitely just drop us a heart emoji. But I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things that we are able to sort of provide in the Pure Romance realm that sort of show up in the book. So one of the things...
Did you know stuff would show up in my book about this kind of thing? It does. It does.
So one of the things that I like to start off with anytime I'm talking about Pure Romance at a party or just with anyone new is our Fab Five product line, okay? And the reason I start off with that is because just to sort of show that it really doesn't have to do with just battery-operated things. people are very nervous that it all has to do with that.
I don't like battery operated. I'm going to be really honest.
And not everyone does, but part of what we want to do is build that confidence. And this whole product line has 5 things to help you layer pheromones on yourself before you even leave the house. Because pheromones are so important in attraction, right? And part of what Beth in the book maybe doesn't have all the time is like confidence when she's like around Ethan and like, you know, she doesn't have that extra push and confidence. So if she were using like our pH balanced body wash or our shave cream, so she's got the closest possible shave that have pheromones in it, those things might bring that confidence just so that she feels better about herself, and that exudes. I mean, Ethan kind of sees it anyway, but she doesn't quite see it.
Pheromones are a real thing, guys. I mean, this is something I write about in all of my books, that the scent and the sense of people don't even realize what's drawing them maybe to the other person. Pheromones are real, and we put them off, and I know that they attracted me to my spouse and that they attracted him to me. This is a real thing. And it is something that I don't think we always need the boost, but sometimes we need the confidence that comes from having the boost.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just kind of.
Yeah, he's going to give you a little bit closer version. Skinny dip, not chunky dunk, skinny dip. So one of the things that, I'm just giving you an idea about the Bath and Beauty products that we sell that could increase that, that confidence. So one of the things that is interesting that I share at my parties is that, yes, we do all produce pheromones, but indoor plumbing has actually hindered that. We are actually less attracted to people now than at any other point in human history because we actually bathe so often, which is so ironic. I know. So we like to layer that kind of thing. And then one of the things I brought too, because multiple times in the book, she talks about how it's maybe a 2 panty day.
I forgot.
And
I did that.
That stuck with me for sure. I don't know if I forget that. That was a very interesting thing to say, and something that my clients talk about a lot is that you're sort of getting that area wet. And we do have a powder spray that you can actually spray so it absorbs the moisture, so you can pre-spray your panties. That way you don't.
Cool, right? Honey, can you whip that a little, because I'm getting like cut off half.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Lean in. We love each other.
Right?
And because it absorbs moisture, you can use it on other areas, like if you have any like boob sweat, like Mountain Dew situation in between your legs for chub rub, that kind of thing.
I do boob sweat. That's an issue.
It is for anyone with kind of big boobs. And then I do want to show a vibrator. So one of the things that is mentioned in the book is that she has a vibrator in her drawer.
And she doesn't mind the vibrator.
She doesn't mind, yeah. And like she said, not everyone's in love with vibrators.
Right.
But if you are going to use a vibrator by yourself, one of the things that people or that women express is that maybe it's a little bit harder to use a vibrator for the reason that everywhere the movement is going to go, right? Part of the reason being with a partner is so special is that you don't really know where they're going to, the unexpected, where they're going to touch next. So if you get a vibrator, and this is just one example, and this is a small example, but if you get a vibrator that has ridges on it like that, it allows for that like tantalizing feeling without it being from a partner. So if you are partnerless, you can totally be like, oh, I want to have that sort of unknown for the next touch and have it have ridges. So that can be true of any kind of vibrator. It doesn't have to be shaped like this. It doesn't have to be this one, but ridges are going to create that tantalizing, not sort of knowing what's happening next sort of feeling. And then this, I'm going to put this on you actually. This is our pheromone. We talked about this earlier, the basic instinct. I'm going to put it on the inside of your right wrist.
Sure.
So this is just our most concentrated pheromones. Just smell yourself. You're about to change over the next minute, and it'll just create like you on steroids. So you know how like every fragrance smells different on different people?
Right.
This fragrance literally,
together?
you can.
Okay.
It literally multiplies your own natural sex attractant.
Okay,
so
guys.
now you might get jumped after I leave. I can't necessarily, I mean, for
We're
single,
planning on a movie, this could be a problem.
For single women, I can't guarantee like the quality of people it will attract or anything like that. But pheromones in general are, as you mentioned, you talk about it in every book, super, super important to attract those people. Because on a chemical level, we really are attracted to people. And then one other vibrator I did want to show, just for the multi-purposes. Again, this vibrator does have ridges on it, as you can see. That's really popular for women who are using toys by themselves. But this toy is really special because not every male partner is super keen about a vibrator coming into the bedroom, right?
No, right.
They're nervous about it. So we like to create toys specifically that are not 100% phallic shaped.
Oh, so that makes so much sense.
So that they're not
being replaced.
Exactly. So this one is tapered.
And by the way, that has to be a scene someday. Because I have heard from so many girlfriends, sisters, whatever, that that significant other has an issue with the vibrator because they feel like they're being replaced. But if it's not phallically shaped, if it's just about fun, it's just about, hey, we're just having a good time, and that's the point.
Yeah,
right?
enhancement, not replacement.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because intimacy needs to be fun, and I hope people are laughing in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I really hope so. I mean, you see that in my books, but I believe we need to have some joy in our life, in every aspect of our life. It shouldn't be so serious.
Right. And the communication is so important with that.
Yes.
So, I mean, women can't just go out to a shop and come home with a penis-shaped vibrator and expect that to go well. You know, there has to be some communication ahead of time. So getting something that is not phallic-shaped is so important. If even getting a toy that would be insertable is like too big of a step, a great first step, I love these. Have you ever seen these before?
No, they look like the little patchy things we put on the kids when they have sores.
Yeah, they do. They do look like that. So what these are these things that have these hand grippy things, and you get one for each hand basically, and it's a hot stone massage at home.
Oh, how cool
like there's a little metal disc inside.
I love hot stone massage.
Do you? Oh my gosh, this is such a cheaper alternative to doing them. So there's a little disc inside, and you crack it. And then it creates this into a hot stone. And this is amazing for women who want to introduce vibration because this set actually comes with 2 vibrators. So
then, but if after you've cracked it, can you use it again?
Yes. So right before I came here, these were actually already used, and so I just boiled them in a pot of hot water, and it reset it to be clear.
Oh, wow.
So then you just re-crack the disc when you're ready to use it.
Can I feel the hot?
Absolutely.
That's really hot.
Isn't it?
So cool.
It's 120 degrees.
Okay, this is going in a book. That's so cool.
And it's so mild.
Yeah.
Because the whole purpose is touch, intimacy,
Right.
massage, kind of just working with your partner.
We all need hugs. It doesn't matter if you're having sex, you still need hugs
Totally,
and touch.
totally. And because it's such a benign way to introduce a vibrator,
Right.
there's a pocket in the back that the vibrator goes in, and
Right.
you have this,
That's
G-rated
fun.
way to introduce it. But then if you're like
I don't think
ready
she's
to
leaving
start
tonight without selling it.
ready to
That's
start
amazing.
exploring, you just pull these out, and then it's
That
like, okay,
is
where else
so
can we
cool.
put this? So that's just a little tip for
Okay,
any
I'm learning
readers.
stuff, guys. Another book is coming. I'm learning stuff.
Oh, I love it. If I
This
get
is
to,
fun.
can I be immortalized in a book?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Can you
That would be
imagine?
so
Can you
amazing.
imagine? Okay, honey, are you paying attention? Because
Yeah.
I can't quite read.
I know.
Well,
I see
actually-
Isabel's comments.
Actually, yeah, they've been Kim and Isabel, and so Lauren first mentioned that there are plentiful shops of the sort in Las Vegas.
Oh, not
Oh,
sure, Lauren. That
Sure,
makes
yes.
such sense, right?
And then Kim had a question about if the pheromone fragrances interfere with essential oils at all.
They actually complement it,
I was
so
gonna
they will
say,
mimic what's
I
around it.
love my essential oils, but I have allergies.
Mhm.
So I get migraines in certain scents, like lavender, vanilla, my favorite scent,
Yeah.
actually gives me
It
migraines.
kills you. Oh no!
But this smells
Mhm.
so good, and I'm not
Yeah.
getting the migraines. And I am wearing actually 2 essential oils right now.
Yeah.
And there's no sense of like
Mm-mm.
competition or anything. It's really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
this is cool.
The
Really.
the final thing is just a comment from Isabel about the stone massage
Yeah.
product, and Hubcap is going to have way too many ideas on it. So, and,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
and Edna has just joined.
Hi, Edna. Welcome. Good to see you.
Hi.
So we're talking about sex and intimacy beyond the book with Veronica Hanson, and she happens to be a Pure Romance distributor. Is that what you call them?
Consultant. Yeah.
Okay. But she is just so knowledgeable, and so she's here showing us some products, but in order to educate, not sell.
Mhm.
And the point here for my readers is to see that I do a lot of research behind the books on the issue of intimacy, and that I love to share that with you guys. So sometimes I just want to share what I'm learning, and maybe not in a book, but yeah, you're going to see it in a book too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is reality, guys.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do. I love to write, and my stories come with what I learned.
Come to life, though,
yeah.
right? Part of
Mhm.
the reason that you write isn't just so people read it; it's so that people are inspired
No, this
to
is right.
take action.
This is truth. Someone asked if it bothered me that people got turned on reading my books, and I just looked at them like, no.
partially the point.
And it doesn't bother me when they cry when there's a sad moment either. And
Mhm.
it doesn't bother me when they get mad when there's like the dark moment comes.
Mhm.
If you're not feeling those things when you're reading my books, then there's a problem. I mean, honestly, if I'm not touching you on an emotional, and you can tell me if I'm not, because I need to know, like, where am I, if I'm missing something, if there's
Yeah.
something missing, because I want authentic books. I want authentic stories. I want to touch readers at a heart level. This has always been my focus. So, and it continues to be. And yes, part of that is writing about intimacy in a way that is going to touch each one of us, single, married, in a relationship, not in a relationship. We're still going to be impacted. We should be impacted. And you know what? They have done a ton of research. And by they, I mean places like Romance Writers of America, fiction, some of the biggest names in publishing have done the research. And one of the questions that has been asked is, like basically how sexually satisfied are you? And they discovered that a very large percentage of people who read romance are more sexually satisfied
That is not
than
surprising at
people
all.
that do not read it.
Yeah.
Because we are talking to that big organ, the best sex organ in your body, your brain. And you're reading a book, and you're going to come away from that book hopefully feeling like hope about this kind of thing and intimacy, and sometimes I might get in trouble for this one, but sometimes it's just self-intimacy, guys. Sometimes that's all we're talking about here,
Yeah.
because that's what we have the option for. And I think that's good. And if I can touch someone's life, I want to.
Yeah.
So however I do that, it makes me happy.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
things that I experienced reading your book is wanting to shake the book. Like, because I just wanted to shake her because I was like, come on, girl, what's going on?
This is I call them my dumb man and my dumb woman moments in my books. And we all have to have them because in life we do.
Yeah.
In life, we're not all confident sexually. Mm-hmm. We're not all confident in our careers. We're not all confident about the things that we want to do. And so if we don't, it's not realistic to write a heroine who's always strong or a hero who's always alpha, or I need to write characters that have flaws.
Yeah.
I get so bored with them. Oh my gosh, if they didn't, I would get super bored. Any more comments, Lola?
Just a question out to the audience. What is your best advice for sexual satisfaction?
Okay. My best advice for sexual satisfaction is get your brain involved.
Oh my gosh, that's my advice.
Right? Because it is not just about your body. Although I did, list some really great books that are going to talk about some ways that you can find sensual pleasure. But sexual satisfaction comes when you give yourself permission to enjoy what you're enjoying. I have gotten reader letters from women who wanted to know if it was okay for Christian women to enjoy sex, if it was okay for good girls to enjoy sex. Do only bad girls like sex? No, yeah. Really nice ladies who have 5 grandchildren and a big family and people think are super sweet, hopefully, enjoy sex. Yeah, and it's okay. That is not mocking. I am saying that because I want people to realize it is really good. And you get your brain involved and you let yourself have permission to enjoy and permission to tell your partner if they're not doing things right. The way we tell them is super important.
Right.
But yeah, we need to be honest and say, hey, that's not working. Or I need a little more of this. If your partner reacts in anger or in rejection when you express these needs, I am not joking here. Couples counseling is a really good thing because there needs to be an honesty between 2 people. And if you can't be honest in the bedroom, you're not going to be honest out of it.
Right.
This is truth.
So one of the things that we talk about at my parties, obviously we mentioned that the brain is our biggest sex organ, super, super important. Mm-hmm. And in committed relationships, what we find is the average woman actually takes 21 minutes to get lubricated, to be ready,
just to be ready.
Have sex.
Right.
Because we're thinking about, as we're starting to kiss, we're thinking about, did the laundry get moved? Is the door locked? Did I pack that thing I need from tomorrow?
Yeah,
did I pay that bill? We have so much things that we need to shut off in our brain. So there are tons of products on the market. Pure Romance carries this one product that's a topical. We kind of call it, like, sort of jokingly, we call it like the female Viagra.
This is so good.
So good.
Right, because you want a little kickstart.
Yeah. And so what it essentially does is you put a pea-sized amount directly on your clitoris, and it tricks your brain into starting to be aroused. Like, as your body gets aroused physically from this, your brain will shut off faster. So that 21 minutes. Because realistically, on any average night, 21 minutes is a long time.
And honestly, if you read romance before going to bed, you're going to be...
That's part of it. Not 21 minutes. That's part of it.
You're going to be ahead of
Absolutely.
the curve. Because this is just like... I actually gave to my daughter-in-law a couple of my books.
Yeah.
And my son says, do not read them if I'm asleep, because that's not fair.
She's getting a head start, huh?
Right. Kind of made me giggle because I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I do think that get your brain involved early.
Yeah.
Women, we can actually shut our brains off if we start to think about some of these positive things that we get from intimacy.
Yeah.
If we start thinking, and typically men do more fantasizing. Women who read also fantasize. So we are ahead of the curve on this one. And we have that option, and that you can find yourself, because, oh gosh, I don't know how honest I want to be. I've never taken 20 minutes to get it. Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that like that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying it because my brain, nothing is like, no movie ever is more a better show than what I can put on in my brain.
Right. Well, and it's no small thing that reading the books literally gives you the vocabulary to talk about these things.
Oh my goodness.
So that's very critical, because women who are having trouble articulating themselves, oftentimes it's not that they don't want to, it's that they literally do not have the words.
Right. This vocabulary is important, right?
Yeah.
And knowing what words to use. And sometimes guys, I spend a lot of time researching how men think and how men talk, right? So when you're reading my books and you're in the man's head, I'm doing my very best to give you a male perspective. And sometimes we need that. I used to do lay counseling. For years I did it. And one of the things I assigned as reading to the husbands in a couple was romance. Because if they could get into women's head, right? Yeah. And actually there's other clinical psychologists that do this. And it's a very effective tool. And I found it's a super effective tool because we don't have the vocabulary for each other sometimes. And I'm not talking women are from Mars, men are from Venus, or the other way around. I don't remember.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying we're all different. And everybody needs a vocabulary. We need a language. We need a commonality we can talk about.
Absolutely.
And so you read romance and you get that. And we get a language of love a lot of people don't have. The ability to express in a verbal communication a very deep feeling that we aren't necessarily born with or are always around.
Right.
My mom was so loving and she spoke her love to us kids in a huge way. But she didn't pick the greatest, for like my dad and my stepdad, and there wasn't as much affection there, right? And verbal affection. So I think I learned my language of love from books. Yeah. I mean, other than, love for my kids, yes, I learned that from her, but my language of love towards my spouse, I definitely picked up reading romance.
Yeah.
Also my expectations.
Yeah.
Sounds
like the bar's really high because reading this book, I'm like, come on now, y'all who have read it.
But there's a little bit of my husband in all of my heroes, as I have said many times in the past, because I can't imagine writing a hero that doesn't have something of him in it.
Yeah.
To me, he's the ultimate. I actually sometimes have really struggled writing heroes with different color hair than black. That's admission, guys. That's admission. I do on purpose write those heroes. In fact, I'm writing a blonde hero right now. He's a Viking who shifts into a saber-toothed tiger. I mean, how much fun is that?
Wow. Right. Very mystical.
Too fun. Yeah. But there's still a lot of calm in him because what am I going to say?
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you are willing to explore your clients and your readers outside of the pages of your books and how it translates into their bedrooms and their love lives.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you came. I really appreciate you being here with us and giving some insight. I don't know, one last kind of little piece of advice, and Tom, can you check real quick to make sure there are no questions? Remember, you need to comment. Oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about this. Okay, guys. I'm giving away 2 digital copies of the Satisfaction Guaranteed, and I'm giving them on this really cute.
Those are the cutest USBs I ever
seen. They're so cool.
I love it.
I'm going to see if I can pull up the book on my Nook. Oh, yep, it's right there. What happened? It was right there.
That is super cute.
Hold on, guys.
Lucy Monroe.
Okay, I lost the picture. That is so funny. I had the picture up on my Nook, but you all know.
So the back of this says, where happy endings are just a page turn away.
I love it.
She was telling me earlier that she really has a hard time with books that don't end on happy endings every time. She was like, series that make you wait till the end of the series for a happy ending are hard for her.
Yeah, it's not. No, like I said, you can have the worst mid-book crises. I'm cool with that. You can start the book off with some heart-wrenching thing that makes me cry. And actually, I will read books that make me cry at the end. I do read those as one-offs. But if they're part of a series and the series just keeps jerking at your heartstrings, I really just get annoyed. And I'm like, I'm done. But that's me. And I'm not saying those are bad books. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's not what I read.
Yeah.
But okay, so it has been great tonight. So we're giving away 2 copies of that to people who comment on this post. I'm going to give you 24 hours to comment because some of you are going to tune in late. You're going to tune in tomorrow, so whatever. And we're going to draw the winners. And also, I'm giving away a signed copy. I still have some of the original Satisfaction Guaranteed. So I'm going to give away this book, a signed copy, to 1 winner. So we have 3 books we're giving away. Make sure you comment. And remember, you can put a heart up or a thumbs up as a comment, if you have ever been to a Pure Romance party, an adult store where you can get fun things for your intimate life or your sex,
or if you want to go to those places,
right? If you want to go, so that's a comment that you could make, and I will post to this post the winners. And Facebook won't let me link to you. Sorry, so you have to come back and look. And are we at time?
No, there's just a couple comments. Edna said, "I love that you own a Nook." And
I love to read online. And I have a Nook, and I have a Kindle, and I have. Okay, I'm gonna whisper 5,000 books on my Nook.
5,000 books, girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just these are my print books, right? Those are my books on my Nook because my library is full.
There's also a request from Kim. Would you post a list of the books you mentioned in the beginning?
Oh, that's a great idea. You bet, Kim. I'll do that when I get off of here. And it may not be right away, but I will do it before tomorrow. And there'll be a comment with all of the titles and the authors. I'll try to hot link them. We'll see.
And Edna just mentioned she agrees must have a happy ever after ending.
Yes, an HEA, happily ever after. And you're my girl. I get it. I am there with you. You are mine.
Isabel has a side comment about 50 Shades, which she loves the series.
I know you love it, and I know I will love the third movie and the third book. But because that second book in the middle ended on not such a happy note, is that right?
Yeah.
So Mommy's only going to read the third one. That's just the way it goes.
Megan joined and said this was so awesome to watch.
Oh, thanks, Megan. Thanks for coming.
And that she's been to a romance party. And then we have a request from Isabel. Can we get a view of the whole library? So.
Oh, yeah, girl. This is intense.
I'm going to let Tom take the camera around and give you guys a view of the library. This is the library my husband built for me.
Wow.
After the kids moved out, I was definitely grieving.
Oh yeah, show that ceiling,
nesting. And Tom wanted to make me feel good about this change in our lives. So he built me this library. And these bookshelves are attached to the wall. So the grandkids can climb them. Not that they're allowed to, but kids do stuff.
Yeah.
And they will not fall down on them.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. He built every one of these shelves from scratch. And I love, there's like these are my special mass market paperback shelves, and then on both sides of the rooms are shelves that are tall enough for hardbacks and trade size paperbacks. And I love my library, and I love my husband, and I just I feel so good in here when we spend time just quiet. And actually my husband and I do we do light therapy because we both have SAD, seasonal affective disorder, and we do it at the table here in the library every morning. So it's kind of like our place. Yeah. So thanks very much, Isabel, for that suggestion. By the way, Isabel is my daughter, and she is kind of amazing.
She is amazing.
She is. She's a party planner, and she just does incredible
Yeah,
work.
She did my kid's birthday party,
which is so amazing. Cool, right? She did mine too. She doesn't normally do adults, but she did my 50th, and it was the best high tea for a group of 50 people that you could ever have.
High tea, that's so nice.
It was.
Kim was totally jelly.
Oh, this library, I know. I get it. I do. I'm not, honestly, years I wanted a library, and it was just, makes me so
I love seeing
blessed.
the hearts flying.
Yeah, thanks for all the hearts, and thanks for letting us know and commenting. And like I said, tomorrow there will be a drawing. Please come back to the post so you can check for it, because a lot of times, unfortunately, Facebook doesn't let everybody see everything in their newsfeed. So, yeah. Oh, look at all those hearts! I know, that's a lot of crazy. Thank you, guys.
Isabel says she loves you guys, and Megan mentioned she did my wedding.
Oh, right. Megan, she sure did your wedding, and it was gorgeous. But yeah,
Isabel did it?
Yes, she doesn't do weddings, but this was for my son.
Special,
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was really, and it was gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Edna also mentioned that she'd like her own library now.
Okay, Edna, I'm on your side. Okay, guys.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
I really, really did. And we're going to have to sign off, guys, but love you all. Big hugs. Seriously.
I like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we will see you later. And don't forget to pick up your copy of Satisfaction Guaranteed, first in the Garter Project series. And we've got 5 of those books out now.
Totally.
Super excited. They're finally back in print, guys. They are in print. And we're not going to talk about what a pain that was, because I don't want to self-publish, but I am self-published, but I don't like it. Yeah. Well, whatever. They're there for you guys now. Okay.
Yes.
Love you all. Bye. Bye. Mwah.